What's up, guys? It's Jake. Today is Halloween. I decided to talk about some ghost stories. Well, to be honest, I'm not really big of a ghost believer, but you know, I started getting into ghosts and paranormal activity back when I was in like elementary school, you know, watching the ghost videos, watching Mark Absalon and all that stuff, and all those YouTubers who make those ghost series and stuff like that. You know, Haunted Sunshine Girl, Melbourne 1RD, Mark Absalon. I feel like there's another one, but I can't put the name to the channel. So there was a video on YouTube about the ghost of Greencastle, Indiana, where Guy Winters talks about the ghost of Irene O'Hare when he visited this old abandoned brick mansion in Indiana. So in this, I am going to talk about some ghost stories I have. And before I do, I just want to let you know, I'm not a big ghost believer, but sometimes I do feel that way. But, you know, I don't really follow ghosts or believe in ghosts 100%, but, you know, it's just sometimes I do feel that way, but pretty much I don't. So here are a few ghost stories. So I wouldn't say this is, but because I have a photographical memory, the one thing I can remember was probably being like 3, I guess. My uncle, who lives downstate New York, used to live in like Wingdale, New York, where that old asylum is in New York. I can't think of the name of it though, but like, you know, like he didn't live near it, but there was an abandoned like shack house right next to his house, and I remember it's really kind of eerie and stuff like that. And I remember there was an old Craftsman tractor mower that was all old, rusted, and old wheelbarrow and shit like that, and it was pretty creepy. And what else is there? I don't think there was any ghosts or anything. Okay, this is another thing. I don't know if this was true or not. I remember my mom was watching a movie or a show or something like that. I don't know what it was, but like I remember this person was like screaming, fell on the ground, and that showed like a person, what appears to me in my mind, sorry to say this, I don't want to sound offensive, but it looked like a Ku Klux Klan outfit, like straight up. Like, and the person wearing it was like doing all these weird things with their hand, these weird signs with their hands. It was really creepy. I don't remember what it was, but as a kid, I was just like, what the hell is this? I was just a baby at the time. I'd probably say I was either 2 or 1. I don't know what that was from, but let me tell you, that was actually probably scary as hell. Like, just the outfit, which I don't know if it was a KKK outfit, but just when I see it, it looked like one. Like, oh my god, that is just creepy, like terrifying. But anyway, many years later, when I was probably, I'd say 2nd grade or somewhere kindergarten, 1st grade, 3rd grade, I don't remember when specifically. Maybe I would say 1st grade. I don't remember, to be honest. It was so long ago, somewhere around that time. Where I live in the town of Victor. So there's like, okay, there's this one road that goes through the village, and then there's the bridge that goes over the Finger Lakes Railroad line that goes into Victor. And there's a little road that cuts off the side of the bridge. Well, there's now a roundabout in that part of Victor now, but like, and now there's like a neighborhood in one spot of Plaster Mill Road. But before that neighborhood, there used to be this old, abandoned Victorian Queen Anne like mansion, and it looked like something out of like a horror movie, like straight up. Like I remember my mom was like, "Oh my god!" Like we were driving through, we saw it, and we were like, "Oh my gosh!" Like this looks like something you would find out of like a horror movie and stuff like that. Like I remember, I was really scared of it. I remember my brother really liked it a lot. He said he wanted to go into it and maybe go inside of it or live in it and stuff like that. I remember I was scared of it. You know, I was scared that, like, I don't know, a monster would come in and pull me in and stuff like that. You know, that was just creepy and stuff like that. Like, And I remember one time we saw it again with my grandparents, and I remember they drove into the driveway, and I was scared, I remember, because I thought, like I said, I thought a monster would come in and pull me in. And I remember my grandfather said a joke saying, "Oh, I wanted to buy that house. Oh, I wanted to buy it." I remember, like, when I first saw the house, I was so scared. I said, I want to get a backhoe and just knock it down so I don't have to see it in sight. Because I remember it scared me really bad, I remember. But, oh boy, but it was really crazy. I kind of remember it, but, like, many years later, I would probably say 13, when I was about 13, I somehow, the house came back into my mind, because one day when my grandparents were visiting, I remember my grandma mentioned about the house that was off that road. And, and I thought to myself, like, oh yeah, I remember that. That's the house that, I was scared of. I remember I was scared a monster would come out and pull me in. I was always scared a monster was going to come in and pull me in and stuff like that. And she was saying, like, oh, she remembers, like, I remember, and even my mom said this when we first saw it, like, man, imagine what that house probably used to look like back then. Like, it probably used to be a really beautiful looking house and stuff like that. It was, it's kind of sad. The house looked really sad and stuff like that, But it was, oh boy. There was another house like that in the village of Victor, which that got knocked down. It was a huge yellow house. It was like a really big house. I actually found out it was owned by a person named Dr. William Clapper, who graduated from Syracuse University. He was a physician who helped people with diseases like diphtheria and all that stuff. But there has been rumors that he did die unexpectedly, and rumors were saying that it was actually inside that house and stuff like that. Well, the house became like an apartment, and then, I don't know, it was really just falling apart that, no one really wanted to live in it and stuff like that. So they knocked it down, and now there's another building that's there. But going back to the one that's on that little road off the bridge in Victor, I remember many years later when I found out about it, when my grandma talked about it, I thought to myself, like, is that still there? And I told my mom, is that still there? My mom said, I don't know, that house was really falling apart. It's probably gone now. It's probably been knocked down. And it wasn't until we went after coming back from my little brother's Little League baseball practices, I went with my dad and we got in the car and we wanted to drive down that road and see if it's still there. And it wasn't until we went there, and guess what? It was there, still standing. And I remember there was a rocking chair on the porch, and the windows were closed. So I didn't know if there's one. I don't remember if the fucking trees were moving, but like the chair was rocking back and forth, and that was really, oh gosh, that was creepy and stuff like that. But like, yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, it's still standing and stuff like that. And I did hear a few stories about that house. Like, some people from Victor have told me, like, what was I gonna say? One of the bus drivers from Victor schools told me that, that was even abandoned when she was in high school and stuff like that. I remember I asked one of them, do you know who the last owner was? Like, oh, I don't remember. It was probably a long time ago, last time someone lived in the house, because she graduated from Victor schools in the 80s, so she said back when she was, like, a teenager, she said it was even abandoned then, too. She told me you would hear the weirdest sounds from that house. Like, you would hear chains rattling. I don't know. I'm trying to, like, figure out if there's any ghost stories of that house. I don't know. It was so long ago. There's actually a substitute teacher from Victor Schools who told me about the haunted locations of Victor. He said Valentine, which is down the street from my neighborhood. the old firehouse, because there was a murder that took place there, and then the Black Diamond Motel, and I think there's other ones. I think the cemetery behind the brick church in the village of Victor, I believe that has some ghost stories and stuff. The people who originally owned that house on that little street off the bridge in Victor, actually, one of the family members who owned that house are actually buried there. They're buried in that site and in the one down the road on Bowden Hill and stuff like that. It's crazy. And I remember I used to always drive past that house. You know, I'd always tell my mom or dad's like, "Oh, can we go past it so we can go check on it and stuff like that? See if there was any updates or anything about it." And I remember like one of my friends said, "Oh, we drove past it the other day. I think they're going to knock it down." So I really wanted to, see it before it goes. I remember they knocked down all the trees and stuff that were surrounding the house, and just, it was really sad looking at the house, It was just, it looked really, the house just looked so sad and stuff like that. It wasn't until, the teacher who told me about the haunted places of Victor, he's a volunteer firefighter for Victor. I remember he said they were going to do a practice fire, and my former pastor from my old church even was a volunteer firefighter for Victor as well, and like he was going to be there too, and I thought to myself, like, oh, I'd like to see it one last time before it goes. I remember we were going to go somewhere that day, and I remember we decided before we get there, we get to see it before it goes. And we drove down the road, we drove a different way down that road, and we looked and we didn't see the house. I'm like, oh boy, we missed it. And all we can smell is like, the smoke. And I remember all that was left, was just the mailbox in the front along the driveway. I remember there were some piles of like sticks and stuff burning and stuff like that. And it was just really sad, that, that once was a beautiful house and just no one wanted to live in it, and then the fire department just burned it down. It wasn't until I brought that story up to one of the guys who's a barber in the village of Victor. His name is Mr. O'Brien. Shout out to you. Mr. O'Brien, you're pretty cool. Even though I don't go to his barbershop that much anymore. But, like, yeah, he was telling me a few stories about it. He says he had a friend. I don't know if it was a friend or not, but he knew someone that wanted to buy that house and fix it up and live in it. But he saw inside of it, and the house just looked really bad that there'd be no way to fix it up. Because the stairs were taken out of the house. I don't remember anything else, but, like, a friend of mine said that she went inside that house and her friend found like an old typewriter or something like that in there. I don't know, but like I told my pastor at my old church, like, did you see an old typewriter? Because I had a friend who said she had an old typewriter. She found an old typewriter in there. He said, I didn't see an old typewriter, but I saw an old-fashioned sink. I saw a lot of old-fashioned furniture and stuff like that in there. It was really cool. It was actually really interesting going inside there. We found some pretty cool stuff. But yeah, that was really interesting. Now here's another one. Okay, this isn't really a ghost story that I had, but this used to be a YouTube video on YouTube. The person who made the video, his channel's still up, but he took the video down. This is a YouTuber from Minnesota. I'm not going to say his name, his channel name, but like, he made this really cool video of like this house that was an abandoned house in, I think it was in Afton, Minnesota, because he's from Minnesota. And oh my gosh, it was just amazing. Like, I remember like there was a website that talked about the house, and like it talked about the families that lived in the house. There was a family called Eastwood, I think, and a family called the Allisons, I don't remember. But the latest owner was Carl Headstorm. Because I remember when he was going through when he was looking at one of the magazines and newspapers that were all around the ground, there was one that had like an envelope that had the last owner's name on it, Carl Owen. Oh, well, probably O for Owen, I guess. Headstorm, and it said like the address and stuff like that. It was like an old envelope. It was kind of creepy. Like the basement of the house was kind of terrifying. I liked the music they put in it. They put a lot of horror music. They put the Spellbound song by Nox Arcana. There's actually a rock and roll version of that song, which it kind of sounds like Deep Purple. It sounds like Deep Purple and Alice Cooper almost, or I don't know. I'm trying to think of another band. It sounds like I would say Judas Priest, but I don't know. Doesn't really matter. I would just say Alice Cooper and Deep Purple, and maybe the band Kiss. I don't know. But like, I remember that was just crazy. I remember. And I remember it was also posted on a website talking about the ghost stories. Like, they said, like, when you come in this abandoned house, you feel like something's watching you, an object could get thrown at you, you'll hear screams and stuff like this from this house. And they even mentioned the guy's YouTube video, and they said that they caught a few ghost sightings and stuff in the video. I didn't see any, but, like, it was a really cool video, actually, not to lie. But, like, oh my goodness. I'm trying to think of some other things that it showed. I remember there were comments of, like, oh, I remember it even showed this. It showed a mannequin on the ground, I remember. I don't know if it was a mannequin, but it went by the camera so fast, but it looked like a mannequin. I don't know why the hell there'd be a mannequin on that, but, like, that is just kind of freaky. But, like, what else was I gonna say? I remember, there were comments in the YouTube videos, and I remember, someone commented saying they went there back in, like, 2002 or somewhere in the early 2000s. I don't know if it was even before YouTube was a thing. When they were in college, they went there with a few friends, and they said that they found like a crackhead or something like that in the house, or a homeless person taking a shit in a bucket. I don't remember which one it was, but like, it was like some people have said like they've been there before and they've noticed weird shit. But I heard that I heard a rumor. I remember the YouTuber even mentioned this. An in-law of Carl Headstorm, either it was a nephew, I don't remember who it was, kidnapped a girl and raped her and, like, left her, like, somewhere in the property. It was either in the barn or, like, somewhere near the house, because they said there was a barn on the property, which I didn't see it, because it was an old farmhouse. But that was insane. I don't know if it was my YouTube channel, because it was so long ago, and I've had this channel since 2013. Or when I used to steal my brother's account sometimes. I remember I commented, "Is that house still there, or did they knock it down?" And he replied saying, I said, like, "Is it still there, or did they knock it down? Because if it's still there, I want to go to it." And he replied saying, "They knocked it down. Sorry, buddy. The only thing left that remains in the property is just the windmill and the silo." I don't know. I haven't driven past that area in quite some time. I bet those are gone too. Sorry. And then I replied saying, "When did they knock it down?" Because the video was filmed in 2008, and there was an update about it in 2010, and I posted this around like 2013. He replied saying it was somewhere around spring of 2011 or 2010. I was wrong. I drove past her. The windmill and the silo are still remaining. He said there was somewhere down the little pathway, there's an old schoolhouse that either belonged to probably one of the earlier owners of the house. For you guys who want to know what the house looks like, here's a picture of it. I don't own this picture. It belongs to whoever it is who owns it, but here it is right here. So yeah, does anyone remember that video? Because I do. It had like creepy music to it and stuff like that. It was really cool. That was my childhood of YouTube right there. I remember there was like old magazines, like they had like old 1950s, 1960s like magazines and stuff like that. It was really cool. And I remember like, I don't know if it was true or not, but he didn't pick it up, but I swear I saw like a magazine or a newspaper article. I don't remember. The face looked really familiar. It was either excuse me. It was either a picture of Elvis Presley, because maybe it was about his death. Because wait, if the last owner who lived in there was in the 1960s, wait, what year did Elvis die? I'll actually check that. Okay, I checked. It was not Elvis Presley because I checked the date he died. Who I think it was, because the last owner who owned it was in the 1960s. So I thought, who would it be? I think it was a picture of President Kennedy, who was assassinated in 1963. Who was one of our presidents. Everyone all knows about the JFK and stuff like that. About what happened to him and stuff like that. It was a newspaper article. I think it was either about about President Kennedy, about what happened in Texas. I don't know. But it looked like President Kennedy. But like, that would have been cool if he picked it up. Like, that would be amazing, because that was one of the biggest, craziest events that happened in American history when that happened. But yeah, that was insane. Like, I wish I got to go to that house and explore that abandoned place, but sadly, someone else replied saying, man, it's sad to see that it's not there anymore, but cool video. Okay, next one. So the other one, okay, Mount Hope Cemetery, because that's in Rochester, because I'm from Rochester. That place is really cool. You can find a lot of history in there. A lot of history. So I remember there was a video talking about, like, there's like ghost stories and stuff like that. Like from that cemetery itself. And there's like one part of the cemetery of Mount Hope called the Devil's Bowl. It's like a pit area. It's like at the bottom. I actually like went down there one time back like in the back when I was a junior in high school when we were visiting Mount Hope. I remember. I was visiting with my sister because she was taking pictures and stuff like that. Yeah, that was really cool. Mount Hope's actually one of the coolest cemeteries, and you can find so much history in there, which I find amazing. But like, yeah, they were saying like that part is you can find the most sketchiest stuff in there. I remember I did go in the Devil's Bowl area. I remember I remember when I was running, I turned around, I felt like I did see like something chase me. I don't know what it was, to be honest. But like, man, that was just insane. But holy shit, I can just think of it. But like, when I was in 7th grade, I went there on a field trip. And I really wanted to catch ghosts and stuff like that. In that area. Well, in the cemetery, basically. I remember like, I didn't like who they chose with my group. They chose like the group of girls that like, that back then I used to find intimidating and obnoxious, but like, I dealt with it anyway. I got along with them. But I remember like, I did feel like something was like patting my shoulder, like that. And some person used to work at my dad's job. He's actually buried in that cemetery. You never know. It could have been the ghost of him. His name was Warren. I remember he was a really nice guy. Yeah, I remember him when I was little. He was very nice. He reminds me of some other friends that I have. So those are basically all the ghost stories I have. I hope you guys have a great Halloween. And I just want to let you guys know that tape 21 will be posted tonight around 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. I'm not sure when, but it's going to be posted tonight. I hope you guys have a good Halloween. Stay safe and stay out of trouble. That's it.